Biden breaks record for political lies about economics. I mean, it's ridiculous the lies that's come out this guy's mouth. I mean, he's spending billions of your money to cut Democrats' losses in the midterms by pumping by taking from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which is just ridiculous because it's supposed to be for emergencies. This is not an emergency. This is him trying to save the Democrats' butt from the red wave that's about to happen. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon where I talk about things I can't talk about here. And there's also a link to my Instagram where I put out tons of news throughout the day. So check that out as well. All right, let's talk about this news. Uh, how do you know when a politician is lying? His or her lips are moving. So goes the old joke. Some cynicism about politicians is justified, particularly when they make campaign promises about what they're going to do in the future. Reality often intervenes. I mean, I can name so many. You probably can name every single one of them that's in office right now. But President Joe Biden just set a new standard for political lying with his assertion that his releases of millions of barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to try to hold down gasoline prices on the eve of the midterm elections are not politically motivated at all. Yeah, right. Let's see now. The average cost of oil in the reserves was $29.70 per barrel. And Biden just announced that he intends to replace the millions of barrels of oil that he has released with oil costing $67 to $27 per barrel. That's a difference of $37 to $42 per barrel. Times 180 million gallons. Each barrel contains 42 gallons. So 180,000 times 42 times $40 is 176,423,571. I'm sorry, I said 180,000. I meant 180 million. I'm sorry. So that totals out to again 176,423,571. We, the American taxpayer, are paying over $170 million to lower the price at the pump now by happenstance just before an election in order to have the same demand for oil impact the market price after the election. So it's not really going to do anything. This is what's called demand shifting. It's basically kicking a rock. It's kicking the rocks down the road. But it doesn't really lower the price of gasoline. It only looks like it does. It temporarily makes the price lower before the election, but causes even larger increases in price after the election when the price of replacement oil is twice as high. It's double. Hard to imagine any reason for that other than politics. Some Republicans keep insisting that, quote, the American people are smart and will see through Biden's gyrations to use your money to try to buy the election. Maybe, but Biden is a master magician, or else he, as a person of limited intelligence and even more limited wisdom, would not have risen to the highest public office in the land. Magicians use a technique called misdirection. They flash a bright, shiny object or a brightly colored handkerchief or a cute, wiggling bunny rabbit, and while your eyes instinctively follow it, they perform their sleight of hand. That's what Biden does over and over. So far, he's getting away with it. He promises that he won't raise taxes on anyone with an income less than $400,000, but he will spend money like a drunken sailor. No offense to drunken sailors. So the inflation creates a hidden tax on everyone that hits the middle class the hardest. That's the misdirection. And because we know the rich people, they have great accountants that get away from paying these taxes, and they could continue to get away with paying some of these taxes. So it's left up. It'll be left to the middle class to make up for that. He's single handedly destroying the middle class. Again, misdirection. Or he says that the economy is strong as hell. That's how do you rate that? What does that mean? There's no number to strong as hell. That's why he says things like that, because there's nothing you can. There's no measurement there. He might as well have said, "Believe me, not your lying eyes," or in this case, your own experience at the grocery store and at the gas station. Or take House Speaker Nancy Pelosi claimed that reducing unemployment is causing runaway inflation. More misdirection. Yes, reducing unemployment and putting more money in some people's pockets will increase demand, but that is only a very tiny factor compared to the trillions of dollars that government has printed and spent under Biden and the Democrat control of both houses of Congress. Milton Friedman, who I love, if y'all have never read Milton Friedman, I suggest y'all read some of his works. But Milton Friedman said it best, quote, "There is one and only one basic cause of inflation: too high a rate of growth in the quantity of money, too much money chasing the average supply of goods and services." So basically, printing money. That's what causes inflation. Printing money is the reason we have inflation. And we know since the pandemic, they were already printing like crazy. But then when the pandemic hit, they really started printing that money. They really turned over the machines. Microeconomics is inherently hard for most people to understand. That's why I put out so much stuff on economy. I love studying the economy and things like that. I read a lot on the economy, and that's why I try to put out. That's why I put out so much stuff on the economy to help people understand this. As Frederick Bastiat, the early 19th century French sage who founded the discipline, explained, macroeconomics involves what is seen producing what is unseen. As Bastiat wrote long ago, between a good and bad economist, this constitutes the whole difference. The one, the one takes account of the visible effect. The other takes account both of the effects which are seen and also those which it is necessary to foresee. Now, this difference is enormous, for it almost always happens that when the immediate consequence is favorable, the ultimate consequences are fatal, and the converse. Hence, it follows the bad economist pursues a small present good, which will be followed by a great evil to come, while the true economist pursues a great good to come at the risk of a small present evil. And that's exactly what Biden is doing right now. He's trying to lower the price. That is the present good, but we got a great evil to come. Henry Hazlitt, an expositor of economics, who wrote for popular publications such as Reader's Digest in the 1950s and 1960s, put the point this way: the whole of economics can be reduced to a single lesson, and that lesson can be reduced to a single sentence. I love this. The art of economics consists in looking not merely at the immediate, but at the longer effects of any act or policy. It consists in tracing the consequences of that policy, not merely for one group, but for all groups. And the great Thomas Sowell, who I love so much. He's another great economist and thinker. He says when they come up with these policies, he always asks the question, okay, and then what? And Democrats, they never look at the and then what of their policies. Like, what are the consequences of those policies? Republicans should stop assuming that people are smart enough to see through all these Democrat lies about the economy for themselves, and instead start exposing Biden's and Pelosi's shell games. And I mean, they really need to do this, because people do not really look at all this stuff. They don't look at the micro, and they don't look at policies, how the policy outcomes, what will happen with these policy outcomes. They don't really look into that. That's why I try to go in and explain all of this stuff. But it is too much to imagine, I suppose, that neo Marxist academics and media pundits would explain basic economics to the public. About the only nominal economist writing for a popular publication today is Paul Krugman of the New York Times, and he is so deep in the tank for Democrats that is a wonder that he ever come up for air. Today, we badly need an economist like Hazlitt who can explain basic economics to the public. Center right think tanks and foundations should start funding a generation of young economists to tell the truth to the American public about economic issues. The collective ignorance of the American public about economics is eclipsed only by its ignorance about nuclear physics. And that's why Biden and Pelosi can get away with their lies. Abraham Lincoln supposedly said, quote, you can fool all the people some of the time. You can fool some of the people all of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. He was an optimist. Hopefully he's right. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out themarkrepublics.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.